1987, in Tropea, Italy, Father Gabriele Amorth, the personal exorcist of the Pope, travels by scooter to the residence of a young man who is possessed. Before discovering the man in his bedroom, Amorth communicates with the man's sister. He addresses Amorth while pretending to be the devil himself. Amorth mocks the demon by telling him that he lacks the strength to control a pig Amorth brought with him. The demon accepts Amorth's challenge and leaves the man's body to take possession of the pig, but one of Amorth's followers shoots the pig in the head to kill it. A family, consisting of Mother Julia, sons Henry, and Amy, arrives at their new house in Castilla, Spain later. The abbey that Julia's family acquired from her late husband is now being repaired and put up for sale. Henry has not talked since because he saw his father's horrible car accident death. As Henry investigates the home, he discovers a hidden room that contains an unusual artifact. Despite Amy's moodiness, Julia urges her to try and assist her with Henry. Amorth travels to Rome the following day to consult with church leaders about the exorcism he performed in Tropea without their consent. Bishop Lulumba, Amorth's only ally, is opposed by Cardinal Sullivan, who rejects the idea of demonic possession. Amorth makes the claim that evil exists by making reference to Rosaria, a lady who was possessed but died when Amorth was unable to save her. He leaves the meeting, further infuriating Sullivan. As the guys working on the abbey approach the area Henry was investigating, one of them sets off a flare close to an open space, setting off an explosion that injures them. As Henry starts to suffer a seizure, which Julia and Amy witness, it seems as though something evil has been awakened. The next time Henry talks after the accident, he informs his mother and sister that they will die before he starts to rip at his own face. Henry's vital signs seem normal, despite Julia bringing him for testing. He begins to heat up at home, and Amy caters to him, but more odd things happen. Father Tomas Escobel is summoned by Julia, but Henry slams him against the walls while yelling, "Wrong fucking priest." Amorth visits the Pope. The Pope asserts that he and Amorth know the truth as they discuss the other church leaders and their skepticism. The Pope informs Amorth about Henry's possession, confident in his ability to expel the evil, but cautioning him that the demon is highly dangerous. In Spain, Amorth visits the abbey on his scooter and meets into Tomas, Julia, and Amy. Tomas is aware of Amorth and the books he has published, despite the fact that Amorth claims they are excellent. Amorth converses with the demon before going to meet Henry. It mocks Amorth and declares that it wants to take on the task of taking control of an exorcist. Although Amorth generally maintains his composure, the demon has access to his memories of himself fighting in the war and surviving a gunshot wound. Henry is then forced to vomit up a dead bird by the demon. Amorth considers the entity to be really upsetting. Amorth visits Julia to reassure her that they can save Henry by having faith. The demon then begins tormenting Amy by forcing her to hear her father's voice and placing a sinister phone call. Despite Tomas' lack of exorcism experience, Tomas joins Amorth in The Exorcist. The demon manipulates Amorth's thoughts by sending him pictures of Rosaria criticizing him and making fun of Tomas for having adulterous connections with a woman. Tomas is provoked by this to grab Henry and try to strangle him. Amorth, according to the demon, fell for its lure. While he checks a nearby well, Amorth leaves Tomas in charge of keeping an eye on the family. Amorth throws a lit piece of paper down it, which ignites in a huge explosion of flames. The demon within the home continues its attack by ordering Henry to bite a portion of Tomas's ear off, while also attempting to drag Julia into her bed and fling Amy across the room. Amy and Julia are taken to sleep at the abbey by the priests. Amorth leads Tomas towards the well to investigate the demon's past. The priests discover tombs where non-converts were murdered and interred, as well as one guy who barricaded himself in a cage to protect others. The demon is able to capture Amy and Henry at the same time that this is happening. Asmodeus, the name of the demon, is revealed when Tomas finds a book and gives it to Amorth. Once a word is said, Amy is broken from her possession. Tomas understands that Asmodeus is targeting on Amorth in particular since he is closest to the Pope. Amorth talks to Tomas about his experiences in the war and his survivor's guilt, as well as his sorrow about Rosaria's suicide in front of him despite his best efforts to save her since he believed she was only mentally ill. Amorth and Tomas gather Julia and Amy as they are ready to eventually save Henry. Asmodeus teases the priests by asserting that there is no way to save the kid, which makes his monstrous appear even more horrifying. Asmodeus continues to mock them by showing them visions of Rosaria and Adela, but the priests remain focused. Henry's true voice begins to break through, but the demon's might has made him weak. Before taking control of Amy once more and making her assault Julia, it carves "God is not here" on Henry's torso. To save Tomas and the family, Amorth gives in and lets Asmodeus take control of his body. While Amorth is possessed, Tomas takes Julia and the children out of the house. Amorth tries to hang himself to get rid of the demon, but Asmodeus's strength has increased and he is wreaking havoc around the home. Amorth is compelled to go once again into the tombs, where Tomas discovers him and begs him to resist the demon's spell. Amorth witnesses Rosaria emerging from the earth in another demonic vision. Tomas aids in the resistance as the demon tries to destroy the church via Amorth. The priests are attacked by other demon manifestations of Rosaria and Adela, but Tomas tosses Amorth across, and the two of them force Asmodeus into a dark hole and send him back to hell. Amorth gives Tomas's gratitude before drinking from his flask. In order to stop the devil's work, he informs Amorth and Tomas that they would be transferred to other locations where people are under the influence of Satan. "We're going to hell," Amorth informs Tomas.